So you'll hear a different tone of voice. There won't be hilarity in the distance, and I won't break into laughter. Actually, that's not who I am. Okay, so I shared these articles simply because, right, I'll start with the Google one. Yeah, it is a strange article. I had another article that I wanted to share, but I think I'll just make you guys aware of it. But it's something that you need to be aware of, and it's the idea of prescribed assets. And post this election, different investors would be expected to invest a certain amount in government type things. The sad thing about it is that it's a law from 1956 or so, and it's an old apartheid law that our government is now defaulting to. It was cancelled ages ago. And the reality is, I'm always amazed what decisions happen and where managers turn to in terms of trying to keep things afloat. Thanks, Courts. Thank you so much. Okay, so guys, if we look at this article, I'm talking and I'm thinking specifically about management. What I'm always amazed at is that when things go wrong, people always blame someone else. So when we think of management and leadership, it appears that the first thing we do when things go wobbly is we find a scapegoat. And that takes so much away from what your role potentially could be. Now, obviously, this is a guy acting as a sort of spokesperson for Media Africa. But the reality is, as a manager, I'm concerned about this kind of article because you're not looking for solutions. You're looking to blame someone. You're not trying to make your business successful. You're trying to blame its challenges on someone else. So when I think of the role of managers, I don't think your role should ever be one of looking for excuses. I don't know if that answers your question. I can't even remember who asked it. My apologies. Gosh. Who said they were confused about the article? Sorry, it happened so quickly here. Okay, so the truth is, there it is now. I'm still confused, Elsie. No, for me, the only reason I shared this is that I get concerned about managers that see their role as finding excuses and not taking charge of the things that they can take charge of. I hope that answers it. So it's not going to be perfectly linked to the content, but for me, it really is, if we expect from managers what every organization expects, and that's to contribute to business successes. I don't know, this kind of thing worries me. It really worries me. So instead of trying to find solutions, this is the kind of thing that this is the kind of thing that concerns me. It's as if when Amazon finally gets here, Takealot doesn't take proactive action, but starts blaming Amazon for losing business. I find that this is something similar. I don't know if that makes sense, Chelsea. I really just put it in because it really, exactly, Zama, it is exactly that. I have a real issue with people who don't take accountability and people who essentially, first of all, will mess up and not apologize. And instead of apologizing, they would blame someone else. The second article that I put in, and yeah, it's interesting reading. And the reason I put that in is how, on the other hand, ShopRite is proactive. ShopRite doesn't just say, "Oh my gosh, it's government's fault. It's government's fault," or we're going to blame something else. It's the ANC, it's the economy, it's the devil, because I've heard that excuse as well. the reality is ShopRite has a set of leadership, has a set of managers that will constantly move the organization forward. And for me, the whole use of AI and introducing AI is just another advance. So instead of blaming other things, as we see with the Pick and Pay people now, I think this to me is what keeps them. Yeah, absolutely, Tanya, absolutely. So for me, when we think of what ideal managers do, and I'll come back to these articles when I go through the slides, is they constantly move the organization forward. And yeah, the other interesting one is what the consequences are of doing that. And it really is just the market share. And they literally are like Pac-Man, and I'm sure you've all seen Pac-Man, and literally they're just eating those little pills, and those pills belong to their competitors. And that's what ShopRite is doing. That's what Checkers is doing. Yeah, Walter, it's everywhere, Walter. It's we've moved into a world where it's about blaming others and not accepting responsibility. And yeah, for me, if I've messed up, I apologize and I move on. I try not to blame everyone else. So if we look at the sort of stuff that we expect from managers, let me just load this slide. Okay, it's clearly not happy. Yeah, I just need to minimize that there. All right, so if we look at the learning objectives, I think a lot of that you would have done in undergrad, and some of the stuff I am going to go through fairly quickly, simply because yeah, it's a bit of a repeat from first year, in fact, and quite a bit from second year, second semester. And then yeah, we'll look at the management activities. So when we look at an organization, the thinking behind an organization is collectively, by assigning roles to different people, we can achieve a lot more as someone on their own. So the reason we have organizations is to allow for multiple skills, we allow for multiple talent, but also it's about making sure that all of this talent pulls in the same direction. So we generally start off with an organization's vision, and in my mind, what a vision is, and obviously I'm talking about the goals there, is the ambitious future an organization sees for themselves. So management, you've done this before, the planning, organizing, leading, controlling. Just to say, decision making underpins all of the other activities, so it's not generally part of the actual planning, organizing, leading, controlling process as a separate entity. Decision making underpins the other elements. Give me examples of how decision making underpins, for example, control. How does decision making underpin control? How does decision making underpin control?
Sir.
Hi.
So I just thought of an example here, okay, also very much linked to the assignment that I saw when I was researching for it.
Yeah.
Say how okay, that how decision making would how decision making would underpin controlling is, say, like how to control or manage your your junior co-workers. That's how I'm just I've just blanked
No,
out.
that's fine.
Yeah, okay, how to control the employees. So say like with online work, that how do you control the accessibility and of your employees in that way. So there's a fine line between being too controlling and being laissez-faire, and then you just have to like go on the middle.
Yeah,
ground.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So for me, I always think, and I'm going back to that. Sorry, and Leah, I'll chat to you in a second. I'm going back to that one there. One of the things that control does, it sets standards. And in terms of control, you have to manage against standards. And the moment you don't meet certain standards, you're required to take certain decisions. So in terms of ShopRite, one of their standards will always relate to prices and keeping prices low. And the moment the economy starts pushing, what they do is they look for an alternative. So the decision to arrive at AI is about making the right choice. It is underpinning. The same with employees. Employees misbehave, they have standards, or employees are expected to work according to standards. If somebody doesn't meet standards, a decision is made in terms of where they go. Go for it, Leah. You don't have to put up your hand.
Hi, HB. Well, I
Hi.
wanted to just, hi. I just wanted to say, with regards to the question, how decision making underpins control, it kind of feeds into all of those aspects as well. So you're controlling how the planning gets done, you're controlling every sort of different element, every sort of step. And that's where decisions actually come in. It's how you're going to actually plan. How are you going to do all of the rest of the steps, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. You know, for me, if we think of the relationship between decision making and the rest, Zama, I'll give you a chance in a second. And Georgia, I was typing exactly because that's what it is. Go for it, Zama, and then I'll give my 10 cents worth.
Sorry, Doc, to cut you in there. I just want to say that there's a way in which you can actually have control without exerting or even explicitly saying that you've got control. And I'm thinking in terms of, you know, as a manager, if you act in some kind of a way that will influence your subordinates to actually behave and to do whatever that you want them to do, instead of just coming gung-ho onto them and then instruction and commanding and so forth. And so be an example in essence in terms of how things are done. Therefore, everybody will follow without you having to, you know, go all out on their necks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, influence is a wonderful way. Exactly, Tyra. So if we look at how decision-making underpins the other stuff, from a planning perspective, I think the reality is decision-making helps us decide the correct direction. It helps us set our goals. It allows us to translate our vision into our mission statement, into our long-term objectives, and then to determine strategies based on those long-term objectives. From an organizing perspective, decision-making allows us to decide the right structure. Remember, organizing provides us the vehicle. It creates the vehicle, the structure, and getting the vehicle to align to your vision and your mission is an essential part of decision making. And then leading, I think the reality is, and influence is a key element, because for me, leadership is positional. And when you have a positional approach to leadership, you need to take decisions at this point in time. What is the appropriate thing to do? So if we look at the kinds of resources, human, financial, physical information, I think the key one I always think about in this modern world is information resources, because the simple truth is information is the lifeblood of any organization. So if I'm Sanlam right now, the thing that would panic me, and this irritated me earlier, the thing that would panic me as a Sanlam, as a Liberty, and I'm typing, I can't do two things. Where is it? I'll quickly steal the Bloomberg one. This kind of thing. If I'm firm, I would literally be running to the hills now. Oh gosh, I subscribe to everything. But the reality is, investment options will be forced to essentially, or investors will be forced to buy a certain percentage or to invest a certain percentage of their assets into government type things. And if I'm a Sanlam manager, or a Sanlam executive, or a Liberty executive, I am already planning to try and mitigate that, because it is a serious risk. We know how awful the SOEs are, and you expected to invest in your government assets. It makes no sense to me. So if we look at why we have management, oh, Zama, go for it. Sorry.
Oh no,
Zama,
this was a
go,
mistake.
or is it
This
an
was a
old
mistake,
hand?
Dr. Henny. This was a mistake. Sorry.
Yeah. No problem. No, don't fuss about that. Okay, so if we look then at what we have managers for, come on. Yeah, efficiency and effectiveness. Remember, we spoke about this. Efficiency has to do with the amount of resources we utilize to achieve a particular objective. Effectiveness is how well we achieve that objective. So if you're efficient, you use very few resources, and essentially, if you link it to effectiveness, you then will be able to build magic things. So efficiency has to do with the amount of time, energy, effort we put into the transformation of things, and then obviously effectiveness is how well the product works. Anyone want to tell me about efficient companies? Again, for me, it is this. The levels of efficiency that come out of ShopRite. Did I open the right one? Yeah. That they must be doing something right. Oh, no, gosh, no, not Eskom. I always worry about picking on Eskom because someday I'm going to have someone who works for Eskom on one of my calls. So, no, that's the opposite of efficiency. When you use a ton of resources to create a trickle, oh, without a doubt, Bill, they are so far ahead of any other retailer, and we can see how people have transitioned away from Pick and Pay to them. Tesla, amazing, very, very efficient. Since when has Capitec gone down on Gaziwe? When did Capitec go backwards? Because at some point they were the fastest growing bank in terms of market share in South Africa, and now they now are taking a bit of Nike. Oh yeah, but Nike. Oh yes, true, Tyree. To also say, Cleo, Nike stays efficient by using sweatshops. So what Nike does is they move their manufacturing facilities into China. They shove people into sweatshops, and then obviously they remain efficient by basic exploitation. McDonald's, Brett, I think they're pretty efficient. I mean, yeah. Oh my word. Okay. Oh yeah, Toyota is efficient simply because of the business model they follow. It is and Swatch, yeah, I'm not sure about, but can I say everyone manufactures. Shein, yeah. We can also just say Shein is cheap because they have little children manufacturing the clothes. You should be ashamed, Tyler, for buying from Shein. I'm kidding. I don't know if that's true. Okay, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's true. Yeah. Who are the Shein buyers here? Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, who are the Shein buyers? A really efficient is, and I know that lots of people are moving towards bank. I don't understand exactly their business model. Go for it, Sibusiso. I'm just going to open this. Anyone with Time Bank? Very new, big growth in market share, and certainly, supported by Motsepe, whatever the billionaire's name is. Very, very, yes, apparently they're phenomenal. Apparently they are phenomenal. Sibosiso, you had your hand up? Yeah, well, that's it. And I think what happens, fashion is an awful place. Fast fashion is an awful place. Go for it, Sibasiso.
Oh no, sorry, sir. That was a mistake. Sorry.
Okay. Well, Russian, absolutely. I mean, the reality is you have to because the competition is so tough. But yeah, Shein is very, very impressive. Who orders from Shein? Who are the Shein buyers? Put your names there so I can say shame on you. Absolutely, Leah. Me, but on cot still. Yeah, Tyler. Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. We give up, guys, and then a manager is that person who gets all the magic going. Oh my gosh, because you didn't think it was manly. Okay. Well, I shouldn't say much. My wife buys my clothes, so yeah, it's my wife's fault. Okay, guys, so when we look at the management process, yeah, nothing new. Oh my gosh, absolutely nothing new. I'm a little bit embarrassed to do this at an honors level or a postgraduate level. So the different human resources, or the different resources over there, yeah, nothing dramatic. We know what they are. I'm not going to have that discussion. And then the interlinked steps within the management process. And then ultimately we look at being efficient and hopefully effective. Remember, effectiveness has a lot to do with quality. And that's why whoever said Toyota earlier, they produce really good quality at a really, really good price. So Toyota is with their Kanban systems and their other systems, really the example of efficiency. Right, so if we look at planning, there's nothing new to this. Everyone knows this. Remember, we create our objectives, and oh gosh, the one thing that my students who have joined me in the online space know is how much I love my art and how serious art. But essentially, so I use paint here, and honestly, if you want to take screenshots of my art, please just put some money in my bank, because this is something to behold. But when we think of what we do in planning, and let me use the right font, because the only way you can really be artistic, you be very careful of Timu. Be very careful of Timu. If you read up Boitumelo, if you read up, there's a real concern. Be super careful of Timu. They have hidden charges. Just read some articles. Just even downloading the app, you're giving them access to your life. Not that other apps don't do the same thing. So in terms of planning, it is about determining your objectives. Oh my word. Is it entirely there were no hidden costs? Because that's the biggest concern, because people are starting to pick up hidden charges. Okay, well, yeah, maybe I should, because I like some of their t-shirts. Maybe I'll go and put them in my basket and leave them like someone else. Is it bad quality? Oh, Chelsea, yeah. So in terms of planning, oh my gosh, I get so excited. That is a goal, guys. That is a goal. So whether it's a goal or objective, oh my gosh, I can see people taking screenshots of this and selling it on the internet. So what we have is that in planning, we determine goals and then we plan. Now I've got to be very careful. Oh gosh, and I've lost my mouse. And then the thing that takes us to the goal is our strategy. It's the next big NFT, not just an NFT. The thing that takes us. I promise you, anyone who's ever seen me draw on a board will know that, yeah, there's a reason that no one wants to be my partner in Pictionary. Even my son has refused to play me now, so he's not my favorite anymore. Wow, Wendy, that's an extra 20% just for saying that. Guys, remember, the thing that takes us to our goal, dear goodness me, is our plan and our strategy. Wow, look at that. Guys, you need to download this urgently. Exactly, Charles, that's 25% extra in your first assignment. Yeah, Wendy, that's 40%. That's 70% somehow. I feel like Oprah. You get 20, you get 30, you get 40%. Oh, there goes me being professional as well. Guys, and remember what decision making does. It is a selection amongst alternatives. It really is a selection amongst alternatives. And then organizing, I think what we know, and normally I will draw a vehicle because, and it's so amazing that I'd rather keep my art private. Thoroughly, yeah, unfortunately as unprofessional as ever. The only difference is that I actually have been drinking before class tonight. So normally I just tell people, I'm kidding. I stopped drinking about 20 minutes before class. So in terms of organizing, remember organizing is about creating your vehicle. So the reality of creating this vehicle is that the structure that you create must support your strategy. So if you plan as a goal to win the Formula One championship, your vehicle is not going to look like an off-road rally vehicle. But if you plan to win the rally vehicle, the appropriate vehicle would obviously be a 4x4 that can go through dirt. But in terms of winning Formula One, Chelsea, it's very difficult. I support Red Bull, but I hate Max Verstappen, so it's quite difficult. No, yeah, not a big fan of Verstappen, but I quite like the Red Bull culture, and also Lando Norris. A big fan of Lando Norris. Oh, Tyler, Lewis all the way. Yeah, no, boy, Lewis would be good at driving the trucks that transport the vehicles to the different tracks now. Oh, that's so rude. It's brilliant. So, guys, organizing, it's about creating your structure. Your structure is your vehicle, the thing that you use to get to your goals. Somewhere somebody is recording this and Lewis Hamilton going to set his people on me. Good, if they hit his height, they'll be able to hit me in the knees. I'm sorry guys, this is now unraveling here. So guys, in terms of leading is about influencing. Leading is about creating an environment where people can be motivated. We see the importance of leadership nowadays in a world where everything has gone insane. The essence of leadership has become more important. And unfortunately, during times of crisis, you also get really awful leaders coming to the fore, people like Donald Trump, etc. But there are still some good leaders out there. There's still some impressive leaders out there. Guys, and then controlling. Yeah, as I said, it is about setting standards, measuring the standards, and then obviously taking it a step further when you don't achieve those standards by taking corrective action. As we've already said, decision-making underpinning all of these. All right, any comments, any questions at this stage? There's no dramas at this stage, guys. If you don't know the stuff, you need to go and ask for your undergrad money back. Yeah, absolutely. Is it Gerard? Pronounce your name, Gerardo. Is that right?
Hi, good evening, sir. Yes, Gerardo, yes, sir.
Is it Gerardo? Okay, well, yeah, in terms of content, I promise you that before we write exams, you would be 100% ready. At this level, the exam is not so much about being able to define and being able to remember all your content. At this level, it is about the integration of your content into application. So if they do what they've done in the past, you will get a set of all the exam questions, different papers, and then what we would do is we would prepare those answers. So don't worry about that. I think it's not so much about content here. It's about understanding and then linking understanding to, linking understanding to the actual application, if that makes sense. Is one due in less than 2 weeks?
Yes, sir, it does. Thank you.
Okay, boy, that's entirely. Oh my gosh, that is insane. I've given you guys the where the answers are already. Has everyone gone and had a glance at the clip on where the answers are? Oh my word. Ongeziwe, were you in my class or you a different Ongeziwe? It's on my YouTube channel. Can someone, okay. Can someone please just share the YouTube link here? I have shared it a couple of times. If someone can just plug it in. Yeah.
I just want to find out quickly if anyone else is struggling to open the Word document for the
this is another issue that we've had. Thanks, Leah. Who has not opened the Word document yet? Yeah.
If I can jump in there, I also struggle to open it, but if you log into your Microsoft through your Varsity College account, you're able to open the Word document. So my personal Word wouldn't open, but then when I logged into my Varsity College one, it worked.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly it, Jess. Thank you so much. Guys, can I just ask those of you that have the PDF, I don't know how you've got a PDF because it wasn't supposed to be made available in PDF unless you've turned it into PDF. Please just quickly put it on the group because I think it would help. Yeah, I did. Oh, thank you so much. Somebody please put it on the group. Leah, you're a star, Leah. Ruan, have a glance at that. I don't know who was struggling else. You're a superstar, Leah. Thank you. Okay, grab it and then let me know, guys. Yeah, that's what that group is for. Oh, very cool, guys. There are some suggestions here. Excellent. Please watch the YouTube clip. It's honestly, you'll see my approach in there. I tell you where the answers are and essentially what we're looking for. What we try and do here is try and control the actual, the marks for the assignments. Okay. All right, guys, let's go to different kinds of managers. Again, when we think of the checkers person and also the guy that blamed Google for Media24 disappearing. I think they obviously sit at a top level. They're your CEOs, your executive managers. Again, we shouldn't be discussing this. You should have done this in first, second, and third year. Middle managers as a group are disappearing. I think as we move towards flatter structures, the entire middle management group seems to now not actually have a purpose. So we've moved away from these terribly tall, skinny organizations with multiple reporting layers to very, very few layers. And most organizations now are trying to get to only having 3 levels. So the top management level, time for art again. So your top management level and the structure, and again, there's so many variations of this. So your top management, your senior management, and then the rest of the organization populated by self-directed teams. So we've moved away from that tall, skinny tower thing. Oh, sorry, Zama, no problem. Okay, no problem. Oh gosh, that's awful. I jumped to conclusions, Zama. I won't do that again. So traditionally, we had these tall, skinny organizations with one person reporting to a next, and I think in one of the municipalities before some of the changes, there were 18 reporting. Oh gosh, Mandy, it will always apply in nursing because there's this thing about the uniform branches that, you know, 1 stripe, 2 stripes, 3 stripe, 4, and the more bits you have on your shoulders, the more important you are. That kind of tall, skinny structures will always be part of, and I'm going to call it a uniform type branch. Are you a nurse, Mandy? Oh gosh, Mandy. How many bits have you got on your shoulders? Oh, sorry, Charles. Oh, bloody hell. Oh, 8 o'clock. That's why load shedding. How many bits on your shoulders, Mandy? Oh, okay. So, so you have a lot of climbing to do. If you think of there's a hell of a ladder there. So, in terms of obviously the modern structure, top management, middle, senior management, and then exactly, Andy, I don't believe in titles and nonsense like that. And the rest of the organization populated by self-managed teams. Essentially, these teams essentially take over the organization. They hire and fire their own team members. They set their own direction. They determine their own standards. They measure their own standards. So we see these flat structures. But Mandy, you are right. In nursing, oh my gosh, that ladder is tall and it is high. And it's almost people are desperate to get to, is matron the highest? But as you also go up the ladder, so I need to warn you, you lose your sense of humor. So the higher you climb, the sense of humor part in your brain dies slowly. So be careful. I don't know. That's a theory that I think we need to research. Okay, guys, so in terms of that, we have these 3 levels: top managers, your chief executive, your so directors, etc. Your middle managers, again, becoming a data concept, your marketing manager, your finance manager, your operations manager, etc., etc. And your first line managers, the sort of foreman, supervisors, those people in charge of specific teams. And then oh my gosh, what happened there? Okay, things jump. And then obviously the different functional areas. Can I see who is in marketing? Who here is in marketing? Dylan, okay, cool. Anyone else in marketing? One marketer. Who is in finance? Okay. Oh my gosh. Also marketing. So just with finance guys, essentially they don't have to be a senior manager not to have a sense of humor. Sorry, I'm just being rude, Jess. Sorry, seriously, so that's just horrible. I wish I could apologize. Guys, and then operations. Anyone in operations in the sort of manufacturing part of things? I'm making sure that I'm getting great ratings today, this year, because I'm offending everyone. Anyone in operations? IT, very cool. Wendy, very cool. Anyone else in operations, manufacturing? Service ops, very cool, Rasigan. Very, very cool. Okay, guys, and then administration. Anyone in administration? I hope no one says yes, but gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, now you need to keep studying so that you can get out of that horrible place. Anyone love being in administration? Management, okay, that's more. Oh, Tanya, where do you lecture? Oh, brilliant, Tyra. Systems operations, very cool. Tanya, where do you lecture? Tanya, where do you lecture? TVET College. Very, very cool, Tanya. Very cool. And then, guys, obviously, other public relations. I don't know if anyone here is in PR. I don't know if anyone is in there is human resources there. In PR, anyone? Human resources. We also now see IT as one of those options. And remember, marketing is about creating a need and then creating the sense that we can address that need. Oh, Anil's PR for 8 years. Very, very cool. Very cool. Finance is about obtaining finances. It's about controlling finances. It's about paying out dividends. I'm keeping it simple. Operations, it's about the transformation processes. It has to do with things that happen on production lines. Human resources, it's about attracting and retaining and developing and motivating the best brains in the world. And then admin, yeah, I'm not going to explain admin. I think that's clear. And other, we've already mentioned. Okay, so if we then look at that, that's what top, middle, and first line managers do. Top managers give direction to the organization in its entirety. Middle managers essentially interpret the vision and the long-term objectives so that first-line managers can give specific instructions to their employees. Anyone here in an executive management position, in a top management position? Anyone here a senior manager, an executive manager? Ops exec, very, very cool. You're a director, Brett, very cool. Sina, I'm sorry, man. Or Timothy, I'm sorry. GM, Mark, very, very impressive. Boy, very, very impressive. Okay, I need to start calling people sir. You were a matron, Mandy. Oh my gosh. Mandy and her baseball bat. Sales director, oh gosh, guys, very, very impressive. Very impressive. Okay, so guys, when we look at managerial roles, again, you would have, sorry, I know that I'll go through it in detail. Is this one of the questions in the assignment? I can't even remember anymore. I see so many assignments. It is. Okay, very, very nice. Thanks, Leah. So if we look at the different categories, now the reality is that irrespective of your level, you would be involved in each of those kinds of roles nowadays. And interpersonal is really about connecting with other people. It is about motivating and creating the environment and essentially creating some sort of energy in the workforce. Informational will always have to do with the fact that the world has gone insane and it's very, very difficult to predict what will happen next. There is this. Okay, so Tyra Lee, what makes remote work unique in terms of, let's start with interpersonal. What makes remote work unique? Anyone? Go for it, Brett. Yes, Georgia, spot on. Brett, go for it.
Evening, Henny. So the nice thing about remote work is the fact that, for one, you can obviously lower the costs of the business. Secondly, you can work at your own pace. You have the freedom of working at your own pace.
Yeah, absolutely. How does it affect the interpersonal role, though, from a management perspective? Because how do we normally interact with that? Yeah.
So I know someone that works for Mr. Price Group, and she's actually an accountant there. She's a CA. And she said to me it's extremely difficult in a sense that if you need an answer to something, you can't just knock on a door and go into someone's office and ask them, look, I need to understand what happened here, or, so that makes it difficult in terms of face-to-face or lack of face-to-face.
Spot on. In the olden days, when I was already old, but Clem Sunter, and I don't know if you guys know who Clem Sunter is. He was at some point chairman of Anglo Gold. He does forecasts. He does scenario planning. He's written several books in, for example, The Mind of the Fox. You prefer the office, Dylan? Okay, very, very cool. Yeah, and honestly, I work with people who could work from home, who prefer the office as well. That's it, Georgia. The one thing that becomes very difficult when people work remotely is you can't check in on them all the time. Oh, very cool, Georgia. Very, very cool. That I honestly, I envy you. I'm quite comfortable with working remotely, although I still lecture face to face. But I do a couple of my jobs remotely where I don't actually see the people I work with. But the problem with that is, yes, that's it. The thing, Sue Ellen, with Teams is when I don't want to hear from people, I just put that red little light on. So you can't have someone just walk in on you. So in terms of, sorry, go for it, Brett.
Sorry, Henny, that was from earlier.
Oh, sorry, it popped up again. I don't know. Okay, no problem, but no problem. So, Tyra Lee, go for it, Leah.
Yeah, so with remote working as a manager or some sort of leader, a manager, your approach is going to change entirely. So you kind of have to tailor to that of what the traditional role would have been. You know, the I can walk over to you, I can actually monitor you. So now it's a sense of you need to, as an employee, you're going to have to give maybe daily reports of what you did for the day, or so it's going to be it takes on a whole different meaning.
Exactly. Clem Sunter, and sorry, I got wandering off into Mind of the Fox and things like that. Clem Sunter, when he was asked when he was chairman of Anglo Gold, what his jobs were, and he said, I set direction and I MBWA. I manage by wandering around. Managing by wandering around is that inspirational aspect of leadership where I think the presence of people, there is a wonderful theory, and we'll talk about it in second semester when we do STML. There's a wonderful theory that if a leader wants to be effective, and with all the stuff we expect from people nowadays, effective leaders have this moment to make even the shortest times with people appear extraordinary. So it talks about extraordinary interactions, and I've not got the second phrase right, and that all disappears with this Tyra Lee. If we think you can't really, a leader is present, a reader is. Okay, please post the PDF again, guys. Okay, for the late joiners. So the reality is, you have to be present. How do you liaise? The talking through Teams is not the same. And most people don't even switch their cameras on because, yeah, truthfully, I think some people, when they work from home, aren't always the most presentable. I don't know. That's just my opinion. And then in terms of monitor, oh gosh, sorry. Distant, that's a massive advantage. Can I just say that is a massive, oh my gosh, Tyra Lee, very, very cool. Thanks for that, Court. So, yeah, go Cleo.
Sorry, so regarding liaising, now say if you're working remotely, if you had to issue like a rule to your employees that say when we join Teams, you must look presentable and you must have your camera on. Now, do you think that crosses into the line of being intrusive or maybe micromanaging?
Yeah, I'd like to hear answers to that. I'd like to hear answers to that. Is that because it doesn't matter what you work in? I mean, I live in Pietermaritzburg and it's so hot that you put on a Zoom suit.
No, I'm not saying that it has to be like, oh, you must wear
I'm asking.
all brown, whatever. But I mean that you're not sitting there in your PJs in a meeting.
Can I just say, I live in a hot city, and despite having several air cons in my house, I walk outside and swim and then come back and start working again. And you do not want to see what I look like when I get out of the swimming pool. Yeah, I think it's a good point. Can you make it a standard? Sorry, the question was, can you make it the standard where people have to be presentable when they work from home? Yeah, just don't stand up. Yeah, exactly. I wear a tie sometimes, but only a tie. Sorry, we can ignore that statement. Shorts and professional shirt, yeah. Yeah, I think it's what the company decides, but I think it's a fair question. You know, can we set the standard? And absolutely you can, because people are still at work. I don't know if it's necessary. In terms of monitor, now here we look at the external environment, but that's easy enough to do. But is how do we share that information? I agree, Pitsy. I honestly, I can switch my camera on now. I have a t-shirt on. I have got pants on, just to say, but I'm pretty sure I took a shower before I started lecturing, because I wanted to smell nice for you guys, in fear that somebody might ask me to put the camera on. But I don't even think I combed my hair, to be honest with you. So in terms of the monitor, that's fine. But how do you share information? Can you always type on Teams? What if you wanted to speak to a group of people? What if people are busy? You can't always see. Exactly. It's a different interaction. Thoroughly, I don't know if we're doing a great job, actually. Very much delayed responses, guys. Very much delayed responses. And then, acting as a spokesperson, and that was also one of the reasons I put that stupid article about people blaming Google. Instead of going and saying, guys, we're going to fight it, you say, well, the fault is Google. The fault is with Google's fault. And then acting as disturbance handler, I think people still have conflict in an online environment. The conflict just changes. So all of those require different. Yeah, no, there are less conflicts. I think there are less conflicts. But again, so when we talk about that, we can say that conflict can be used differently. That's the one, Tyree. It is incredibly passive aggressive. If I've got the zig with somebody, I just block them. I just don't answer their calls. As per my previous, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if this makes sense. So in terms of figurehead, the attending ribbon cutting things, that's not going to apply. In terms of leader, that managing by wander around, it's exactly that, Mandy. It's not the same. It's not the same. I don't mind that. I think somebody said earlier that even though they can work remotely, they go to work. And that's, some people have a higher social need. And then, in terms of how do you coordinate, it's very different. You can't see people. It's a new challenge. And then monitor is about checking the external environment, keeping your ear to the ground. In third year, you guys, I'm sorry, if you did strategic management in third year, you'll talk about the sort of early detection of smoke signals, those kind of early detection stuff. And that's all part of monitoring, where you hear stories and you go and fully build it up. And then, sharing information. I'm not a big fan of memos, etc. And yes, people like permanent records, but I like the idea of having a discussion and then supporting it with a memo. Memos to me are impersonal, and I think sometimes people default to memos simply because now I can check on them, I can catch them out. And then acting as a spokes. Very, very cool. Very cool, Ongezewe. But can you see why those things are done? I think it is a hell of a unique experience in a unique environment. Tara Lee, does it make sense now? Oh, absolutely, exactly, and then getting paid as well. Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone, for your input, guys. And then monitor, checking the external environment, keeping an ear to the ground, disseminator as you get new information, making sense of it, sharing it with people, and then spokesperson. Yeah, again, what the guy from News 24 did. It's Google's fault. And then entrepreneur, lots of innovation ideas. And the thing is, if you think of Google, what sparks their innovation ideas essentially is the face-to-face interaction. If you get a chance, and oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to find it quickly enough. I should these things ahead, but I wish I could tell you that I actually prepare for classes. YouTube, what? Oh no, Zama, COVID pushed remote working. There was a small percentage of the population that did work remotely, but COVID was the big catalyst for that. You know, with COVID came Zoom and significant advances in terms of being allowed to work online. I don't know what everyone else thinks about that. COVID was the big catalyst. Oh gosh, I can't type at Google. Oh, absolutely, Tara Lee. Absolutely. I heard of shucks. I don't know where it is. Guys, I will share it with you the moment I find it, but it's a wonderful, yeah, it was awful. It's a wonderful video clip that shows you what face-to-face interactions do in terms of sparking innovations. And then disturbance handler, I think you're 100% right. The significant shift about disturbances is dealing with passive aggression. You know, it's easy to avoid people when you're online. So your style of managing conflict and disturbance becomes very, very different. And then resource allocator, yeah, reviewing and allocating budgets, and then negotiator, the kind of interactions with trade unions, suppliers, etc. Guys, I know that we're going slightly over. In terms of management skills, did I ask, is there a question on management skills? I can't remember offhand. No, okay. So in terms of technical skills are job-related skills. So technical skills is a technician doing a service on a vehicle. Technical skills is an IT person replacing a motherboard. Those are technical skills. Technical skills are people writing specific code in terms of programs. Technical skill is a heart surgeon doing heart surgery. Technical skill is essentially a lecturer doing the lecturing. Interpersonal skills would be get along with others. It's that kind of ability to interact. It's that kind of ability to create a space where people are motivated. Conceptual skills are higher order thinking skills. And the general rule of thumb is that the higher you move in an organization from a structure perspective is that the more conceptual skills you require. So you need to be able to see the big picture. I think trying to discern what is going to happen in the external environment is heck of a challenging. It's honestly, the environment is like watching a bunch of fleas jumping on a trampoline and trying to understand what it all means and trying to see patterns, etc. So the simple truth is conceptual skills are key to the success of senior executive type managers. And diagnostic skills is a decision-making thing. It is being able to separate cause from symptoms. I always think of COVID and what COVID did. So many people just closed down, where others looked at the cause, and the cause was essentially we can't work together. Now, what are the options? I mean, a lot of people gave up too quickly. A lot of people put people on layoff, and they didn't rethink their business model, and the ability to diagnose is part of that. We will talk about diagnostic skills again when we do decision making, guys, and then just the rest of the managerial skills, communication skills. Yeah, I think we don't need to explain that. Gosh, I consider teaching communication beneath me, to be honest with you guys. And then interpersonal skills, those get along, decision making, looking at alternatives and deciding the best one. One of the things that is worth considering in terms of decision making is the fact that in the old days, people were faced with right versus wrong decisions. The key challenge in decision making now is that we are often faced with right versus right decisions, and becomes one of those the most right decision. And we'll talk about that again. And then time management, I'm really all for time management, but it's the ability to prioritize, it's the ability to schedule things and not cling to everything. Right, guys, any questions, any comments at this point? I want to spend a bit of time on this, and we've gone slightly over. Can I quickly finish this learning unit? Can I just quickly finish the unit? Okay, guys, if you can just hang on, we've gone slightly over. So in terms of, this one here, I don't know why I've got all those pictures there. So when we look at management, the sort of art, what we do, and I think one of the reasons you are here, other than being entertained by me, but one of the reasons people attend classes like this is that we are looking for best practices. And the management would always come from those, or the art, the science would always come from those best practices. So the reality is, the reason we can do a SWOT analysis is because somebody created a model. So that to me is the science. The art is being intuitive. I think really successful people have a strong sixth sense. It is knowing without really knowing, but that gut feel. And what is magic is if you can bring the science together with the art. I think intuition plays a massive, massive role in terms of what happens in organizations. Who here has an example of where they were intuitive, or they know of somebody who was intuitive, and it hit it out of the park? The decision and the intuition hit it out of the park. Where people just knew, everyone was suggesting one thing and someone went a different direction. I mean, for me, Federal Express, the guy who started Federal Express suggested FedEx, let me use that term, FedEx as a business, this overnight delivery of parcels, as part of an assignment at university. And he was given an E or a D, and the professor said, what a stupid idea. But intuitively, this person knew this will work. And if we see now what has happened from couriers and overnight delivery, just that sense. Thoroughly, that's exactly it. Because you know intuitively what will sell. Yes, you might be able to use some sort of marketing model, but sometimes that ESP, absolutely, ESP, and that sense of knowing, and just the gut feel that's associated with that. I wish that would go away and they would pay the poor guy. But it's a wonderful example, Walter. You're not the guy, or you? No, you're not. But also, guys, someone like Richard Branson, he has amazing intuition. The stuff he tries, and often people who are pathfinders are intuitive. They tend to know what the future is without actually having some sort of best practices around. The best practices are the science. Guys, in terms of where do you find managerial skills? Yeah, from an organizational perspective, so training and development and education, creating job experiences. And then what Google does is they're really good at this. They don't create their own businesses, and they don't create their own, well, they don't always have the right competencies. But what they do is they buy YouTube and they bring in an entire new set of skills. They buy Android, they bring in yet another set of skills. And then we realize why Google is the third wealthiest or fourth wealthiest brand in the world. They have this amazing ability to purchase Facebook and buying Instagram and buying WhatsApp. What they do when they buy those businesses, they also buy the skills. If we look at it going wrong, it is Elon Musk and buying Twitter after he refused to buy it, etc. And what does he do? He doesn't embrace the new skills. He creates a toxic environment, and people resign. And we know where X is now. It's gone backwards significantly. Okay, guys, and then, oh gosh, there's a slight issue with that slide. Those are the objectives, sorry. Oh, without a doubt, Mandy, we see it happen all the time. And again, these people are voracious buyers. They keep buying because growth is part of organizational success. In terms of the new workplace, I think the first one is all of you will experience it. It is insane. There are so many, absolutely, Tyree. Yeah, there are so many changes, and it is rapidly changing. What the standard is today is old news by tomorrow. There are so many advances, and we'll see with artificial intelligence being accommodated in the business world more often now and more regularly. The simple truth is we will, at least I'm moving closer to retirement, but you guys are in for an interesting time. The second one is, I find that a lovely contradiction. Some companies just keep buying and the workforces expand. But then what they do is they right size and then they reduce the workforce. This notion of right sizing. So we buy Twitter, but we get rid of the staff because we bring in the staff, but now we're getting rid of them. I find that quite anomalous, but it is the new world. And then the idea of diversity. If I look at the names on this group, this is a heck of a diverse group of people. I mean, we have different religions, we have different first languages, we have different cultural backgrounds. There are so many significant, and I would imagine there are a couple of religions or variations on religion here as well. It's a diverse group. Is anyone here not from South Africa? I know someone said they're from Botswana. Anyone not from South Africa? I know someone said Botswana. Okay. And then, the last one. And remember, the idea of diversity is that it's positive from bots. How's it, Walter? And then, guys, I think the reality is we see technology and information technology take over in the way we organize. And let's be honest, what is the new way of organizing if we're not going to include remote work? I think the world has gone insane, guys, and that is the reference that you use. Please don't ever reference me. You reference the textbook when you reference the slides. Guys, any questions at this stage? I'm going to stop the recording.